Good evening, everyone. I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A joint workshop with the Planning Commission will be held on Monday, November 8th at 5 p.m. for a panel discussion with the Urban Land Institute to discuss affordable housing. Budget discussions will continue with the Council holding its next budget workshop on Monday, November 22nd at 5 p.m. to discuss capital projects and the city's 5-year capital improvement plan. The city will be hosting a mini fall festival on November 2nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at Bayfront Park. We're encouraging everyone to recycle your pumpkins, so come out with your entire family, bring your pumpkins, and stay for a family-friendly movie. We'll also be showing Disney and Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. That will start at 6:30 p.m. All meetings of the City Council are open to the public and held in the City Council chambers. We encourage anyone wanting to attend proper seating. The next item, we have a proclamation this evening regarding domestic violence. In recognition of the critical work being done, encourage all citizens of Victoria to actively engage in the work and events sponsored by the Southern Valley Alliance, which can be found on their website, www.svamn.org, and other organizations working toward the elimination of domestic violence. I will now read a proclamation recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. 2021-05 declaring October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas more than 10 million adults experience domestic violence, and whereas over 1.5 million high school students are physically abused by dating partners annually in the United States, and whereas more than 19,000 calls are placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide every day, and whereas the impact of domestic violence is felt not only by individuals and families, but communities and nation as a whole. And whereas Victoria joins with others across the state of Minnesota and nationwide in supporting domestic violence victims and survivors, the advocates and organizations who serve them, and holding offenders accountable in Victoria. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Victoria Council members do hereby proclaim October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The next order of business is to adopt the final agenda. Council, is there a motion to adopt the final agenda?
Motion to adopt final agenda.
We have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to our next item, and that is open forum. It's the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not an agenda and not in Apple's registered for the open forum tonight. Representative Greg Bowe is with us this evening.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, councilors. There we go. B, which is made up of a good portion of Victoria, a good portion of Chanhassen, and all of Chaska. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak for just a couple of minutes this evening with a quick summary from the 2021 legislative session. So, first thing to talk about is we actually got the biennial budget done, and we got it done in time. Yes, statute requires it to be done by July 1st, and we did that with less than a day to spare, but we did get it done. And I think what I'm most proud of is the fact that we got our budget done with no tax increases, and that's huge. The state of Minnesota at the time had a $4 billion with a B billion-dollar surplus. And anytime you have a surplus, that means in essence you're collecting more money than you need. So at that time, I just couldn't see having a tax increase, and families and businesses are sure about Victoria than St. Paul ever will. Eastern Carver County knows more about Eastern Carver County than St. Paul ever will. So that local control is important because it allows that local control handing those decision-making powers back to the local government. I continue to work for small businesses. Many people think that small businesses are open now, so everything's back to normal. But the truth is it's not. A lot of local businesses are really struggling yet. They're struggling to find staff and keep staff. They're struggling to get their heads back above water. The lockdown from COVID was really difficult on a lot of businesses. And so the message bars, businesses of all types, they're struggling yet and they need our help. So this past year, many efforts went into trying to announce that some of the most onerous language did not pass. But unfortunately, a couple of good bills didn't pass either. One was going to increase the penalty for committing a crime. I think it should have. Another one was increasing the penalty for someone being in possession of a gun when they're not legally allowed to be in possession of a gun. And that didn't pass either. They will be back next year, I'm sure of it. But the sad thing about that is a lot of our border communities are really struggling now. The states that surround Minnesota are hesitant to send their law enforcement professionals into Minnesota for a joint response. Require small communities when they call their neighbors across the border for help and they won't come. And ask that will fix things that they're concerned about. So we need to continue to be cognizant of that. But overall, our communities are very safe. And our residents in our communities do support law enforcement, and they do support first responders, and I'm very happy for that. It warms my heart to see that response. But we need to be aware of that and continue to work to improve those situations. I did want to share that I co-authored a couple of bills. One was seeking funding and received funding for Highway 212. So upward of $25 million for Highway 212. So phase 1 and phase 2 are moving forward quickly, and that's a real positive for all of Carver County as well as a good portion of southern and western Minnesota all the way out to the South Dakota border. Another one, I chief authored House File 1544, which I'm proud to say just received a stop at Street and County Road 18 and Lyman Boulevard. And so we got to stop. Big positive. We're working for a bonding stop for the Senate bill as well, but we would really benefit, I think, all of Victoria and Chaska and Chanhassen by having that road improved. So glad to see that moving forward and getting some traction. And that's really all. If residents have any questions, I would encourage you to call my office at 651-296 at house.mn. And I thank you for the opportunity to talk with you a couple of minutes this evening.
Thank you so much, Representative Bowe, and we want to take a minute to say thank you for carrying that bonding bill for us on 82nd Street. That is an important thoroughfare coming into Victoria, and we want to increase the safety on that road in a big way. So that
Absolutely.
is a big part of getting that road taken care of.
That's
so
my
thank you
pleasure.
for that.
So make sure you don't send the road grader out in the next couple of weeks. We want that bus to feel those bumps on it.
Noted.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank
Council,
you.
anything else for Representative Bowe?
No, just want to say
Terrific.
thank you.
Yeah.
My
Terrific.
pleasure.
I think you are dismissed to get on to your next.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greet Mayor Ryan for us.
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Miss Sarah Beron. Miss Beron, please step to the podium and state your name and your cause.
Yes, my name is Sarah Beron. I am here representing the Auburn Acres neighborhood, and I'd like to first kind of ask all my neighbors to stand up here so you can see how many of them are behind us and in support of this. I do also want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to stand before you today and talk about something that's really important to all of us. We are Auburn Acres, so we're the small neighborhood north of Highway 5 that borders Lake Auburn and Highway 5. Just west of here. And it's an older neighborhood. The homes were built in the 60s and 70s. And we have no access to any parks or trails. We've been kind of getting by because an undeveloped woodsy lot, and so we've been kind of playing there. The kids have been, making forts in the woods, and it's been kind of acting as our park for us. But that lot is now up for sale and actually has an accepted offer on it. So my original plan was to talk to you today about dedicating that lot as green space for our neighborhood. But I fear that the pending sale will go through and we won't have that opportunity. But that kind of just brings to light, the real issue of our neighborhood, which is access to parks and trails. We live, in one of the that, and I know you guys do too. We like paying for that. I mean, we're happy to put our tax dollars to work for parks and trails. But we don't have safe access. Right now, our our families have to run across Highway 5 in a place where there is no intersection, there are no, it's not safe to run across Highway 5 or walk, into downtown Victoria, that half of a. And so I come to you today with a proposal to put a trail, a 0.5 mile trail from Auburn Drive, Tiger Lake Lane. So just to give us, that safe access to downtown Victoria and the Lake Minnetonka Regional Trail here. It's a pretty kind of straightforward, I've walked that thing as much as I could. There is a slight wetland right there, so there will have to be a little wooden bridge or something to go over where 6 Mile Creek goes under Highway 5. But, just right on that easement next to Highway 5 is where I'm hoping this will go. And I know kind of what you're thinking. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is just one small neighborhood. Sheet of paper that I gave you. It talks about, I did quite a bit of research in preparation for today. I read the comprehensive plan and all of the great trail that goes along Highway 5 on the north side. You called it a county road trail. To this great connection to the city of Waconia and all the benefits that would come to that.
In conversation at the open forum about topics, but I know that the council has a few questions. I'm looking over here to Dana and the city of Victoria, the watershed district, Three Rivers Park, the state, county,
Waconia.
city of Waconia. Yeah, there's
We
a
have
lot
to get them all together.
So we need to recommend here is that we direct staff to include this on our trail gap map and maybe start in the process of trying to get these folks connected to the rest of us. Because we would certainly like to claim them. Look at they're fine-looking people. They're fine-looking people. Let's claim them as Victorians and get them for bringing this to our attention. And we will get started on the process, and you have a great spokesperson in Ms. Beron here. So we will be sure to keep in contact with her and engage her in the process as we work through trying to close that gap on that trail. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is that enough for you to? All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Within the council chambers, I'd like to speak on open forum.
That made everything easier to.
Yours, and then I'm going to see if there's.
Already no one wants to stay.
I know, right?
We don't really
We're
have to.
fascinating.
After this, we're gonna.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in open forum? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine. They're approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, who has left the room.
Madam Mayor, I can make my best Dana Hardy impression. None
be
from
wonderful.
staff, Madam Mayor.
There is nothing from staff that wishes to be pulled from the consent agenda. Council, anybody from council wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to pull anything from the consent agenda? Council, on that note, may I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt the consent agenda?
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now moving on to our regular agenda. There are no items to come before us this evening on our regular agenda. We will now move on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, anything from you?
Mayor and Council, I feel like I have to say something because I get asked every meeting. I just would mention that on the Metronet deal that we talked about a meeting or two ago, Metronet supplied some additional information. We had some questions for them about their application, and one of the things they supplied was a relatively long list of communities in which they serve by acquiring Jaguar. And so that just sort of bolsters the information that you were supplied previously. And I would just mention, in addition to that in addition to Chanhassen, they are plowing forward in a number of other communities looking to expand in Minnesota. So there's all reason to believe that this is sort of a real thing, and I know staff wants to get going on negotiating a deal with them. So
Terrific.
that's what I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Hardy, any reports from staff?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
All right, council, reports from council. Nobody? All right, well. Councilmember Black.
Yeah. The other day I was out looking at the parks to see how they fared with the upkeep. And I ran into Nancy and John Upton at the Kirklachen Park, and they were cleaning it up and transplanting and got a bunch of shrubs out of there, and it was really, they said they loved doing it, so I loved that they did it. And they were asking for some mulch, so I was hoping we could get that to them. And there was an area that has the shrubs that go down the hill. They wanted to know about pulling that out and planting wildflowers. They had a bunch of seeds, so I thought I'd ask that, and I see Ann shaking her head, so
She's going to take care of all
we're
those
good.
needs.
So thank you.
Terrific. Anything else? No. Council, anything else?
Yeah.
Councilmember Gunderson.
I would just urge people to drive around Victoria and take a look at some of the Halloween decorations. I know Christmas is a Christmas light thing, but we've got a wonderful apartment unit over here that we get to see as we leave. It's lighted and everything, and it's phenomenal. My neighbor has a wonderful yard of Halloween, and I know there are some others in some of the neighborhood communities that I think are worth the drive. So if you can get out and go check it out, I think it'd be worth your time.
Terrific. And we all know that the leaves are coming down, so just a reminder that the compost is open and available for folks who want to do leaf recycling. And as a public service announcement, please do not blow your leaves down the sanitary sewers. It's not a good place for those leaves. Put those leaves and bring them to our compost. Don't blow those down into the sanitary sewers. I see people leaf blowing, and we want to make sure that all the things under our feet work properly. So with that, if there's nothing else to come before the council this meeting, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
You said it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned.